happy Tuesday, everybody. It is Tuesday, April the 19th, 2011. You're tuned in to what I'm sure is your favorite program, The Exchange. Joined today by Fritz the Night Owl, my good pal to my right, George Casotis, and another good pal over here, Charlie Evers. Going to be joined in just a few moments by Lance Schwartz, who is the Elgin Band Director. Going to tell you about a great event coming up real soon here in Marion. Before we do any of that, though, we want to make sure to thank our sponsors, as today's episode of The Exchange is brought to you by Peacock Water Conditioning, water experts since 1953, 1800 Marion Marysville Road, Marion, Ohio. For further information, dial 740-387-6312. The Ohio Neck and Back Pain Relief Center, Scott M. Gray, D.C., across from the Marion Center between TSC and Kroger. For further information, dial 740-386-6580. And Night Owl Theater, located on the net at www.fritzlives.com. For further information, email nightowltv@yahoo.com. That's NITEOWL at yahoo.com. We'll tell you more about what just happened later on, what the laughing is all about. But first, we're going to go to this day in history with Charlie Evers.
Well, yesterday we told you about the midnight ride of Paul Revere and William Dawes. Now, the following morning, here's what happened. In Massachusetts, about 70 armed militiamen stood face to face on the Lexington Green with a British advance guard unit. An unordered shock was heard around the world, and it began the American Revolution. And as a result, a volley of British rifle fire was followed by a charge with bayonets, and that left 8 of our Americans dead and 10 wounded. That was the big happening on this day on April the 19th. And then 47 American soldiers were killed in an explosion in a gun turret on the battleship Iowa. I think a lot of you remember that. That was in 1989 during gunnery exercises in the waters just off Puerto Rico.
Our logo fell down. That's what happened there. Our Night Owl logo fell down. So we got a little giddy here on the set. But you know what? We are live to tape. So we're going to forge ahead here. And coming up next, we have a guy who knows something, one or two things, about movies, who's going to give you a great movie to watch tonight. Fritz the Night Owl with the Flick Pick.
Thank you, Scott. Movies that I talk about here on The Exchange, I kind of try to stay away from the movies that everybody else talks about, America's top 100 greatest films. I'm try to bring you some movies that are kind of fun to go through, interesting to watch for maybe an hour, hour and a half, 2 hours. They may not be the greatest movies in the world, but they'll definitely satisfy you. And who knows, maybe an hour later you'll be hungry again for another movie, but what the hey. Tonight we're going to take you to the beaches of Malibu. We've got great scenery, spectacularly cantilevered ladies, marvelous fun comedy with one of my favorite actors, the late Tony Curtis. Tony Curtis passed on just a few months ago. Bernie Schwartz. Up and down film career. Some of his movies were superb, such as Sweet Smell of Success, The Boston Strangler, and many others. And then some of the comedies sort of went down the tubes. The one we've got tonight is a Tony Curtis comedy, and it's one of the best comedies that he did. Got 3 stars from most critics, 3 stars out of 4. In addition to a fun story of 2 lovely ladies who fall in love with Tony Curtis on the beaches of Malibu, the rest of the cast is equally interesting. The movie is called Don't Make Waves. And if you're old enough, you may remember a group called The Byrds. And The Byrds sing the title track. As a matter of fact, was even a big hit for The Byrds, Don't Make Waves. Tony Curtis, of course, the male lead. Beautiful Claudia Cardinale, one of the ladies with whom he's involved. And the late Sharon Tate. This was about her 3rd movie. And Sharon Tate, of course, is interesting in that she was one of the people involved, killed by the Manson group, the Charles Manson murders. Sharon Tate was one of the victims, wife of Roman Polanski at the time. Anyway, she's in this movie. This is her 3rd film. She was just beginning her climb to stardom before the murder. Also in the movie is a guy that just about every stand-up comedian today owes something to. His name is Mort Saul, and Mort was one of the comedians who began to use current events more in a monologue story type of thing with irony, wit, and humor, as opposed to set up a thing and then have a punchline, boom, rim shot, and go on to the next joke. Mort Saul and Lenny Bruce, probably the two people most responsible for the comedians of today. They all owe a big vote of thanks to the late Lenny Bruce, and of course Mort Saul, who appears in this movie. Also in the movie is Edgar Bergen of Edgar Bergen and Charlie McCarthy fame. Edgar Bergen in this movie without Charlie, Edgar the father of Candice Bergen, Murphy Brown, and many, many more great movies. Also in the movie, Jim Backus, who was the voice of Mr. Magoo in the cartoons, and the guy who was a Mr. Universe contestant. So you put them all together, what have you got? You got Don't Make Waves. It's fun, it's enjoyable, the scenery is spectacularly cantilevered, great beach sequences at Malibu. Think you'll enjoy it. Wear a number 30 suntan protectorant when you're watching us. Don't make waves. Enjoy it tonight.
I gotta tell you, Fritz, anytime anybody says Tony Curtis, in my radio days, before Tony passed, I had a chance to interview him by telephone.
Really?
Oh yeah. And there's a story that Tony told me that I can't tell, I couldn't repeat it exactly how he told it to me, but it was about Marilyn Monroe and Some Like It Hot, and Jack Lemmon, oddly enough. We're just tying it back in.
Right.
But I'm going to try to clean it up here and tell it, because it's a story that needs to be told. And if I get hit by a bus going home tonight, I want to make sure the story's out. Now, this is not exactly what he said, but this is the story. Tony Curtis was doing Some Like It Hot, and if you don't know, Jack Lemmon and he dressed up like women in that film. Marilyn Monroe was in the film. I was doing the interview with Tony. We were talking about Marilyn Monroe, I think. He said, "Are we taping this interview?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "Can you stop the tape for a second?" Sure. This is how nice a guy Tony was, truly was. We went into this little sidebar. He says, "Is the tape off?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "Okay." He said, "We were making Some Like It Hot, and we were all back in the costume room getting fitted for our dresses, Marilyn, me, and Jack Lemmon." And he said the costume designer came to me, and he started at my ankles, 12, 24, 32, 36, so on and so forth, and went over to Jack Lemmon and did the same thing, 24, 36, 32, and went over to Marilyn Monroe and did 26, 34, 32, and then he paused, and the costume director said, "You know what, Marilyn? Jack Lemmon's got a better behind than you do." And then, without skipping a beat, Marilyn pulled open her top and says, "But does he have a chest like this?" And if you can get that on the air, you need to get that. I cleaned it up good enough, didn't I?
That was.
I think it was a good story. Tony told me that, and I'll never forget it. Moving on today, we got a great event coming up here in Marion. It's the Elgin Music Boosters presenting Music to Your Ears. It will be on the 23rd of April. 50-50 raffles. You can win up to $10,000. The drawing for that will be held on April 30th, 2011 at 7 p.m. at Elgin High School. Donation of $10 gets you in. Only 2,000 tickets will be sold. www.elginmusicboosters.org if you want to check that out on the internet. Joined today by the band director over at Elgin, Lance Schwartz. Lance, how you doing?
Very good. How are you doing?
Good. Before we get to you, Lance, I'm not trying to avoid you, but you brought your band today, and we couldn't have them play, but we want to get them on TV, have them come through, state their name and what instrument they play. Just come on through this and right through the tunnel here.
I'm Kyle Arnett. I play tuba, trombone, and bass guitar.
I'm Kelvin Belts and I play tuba. I'm Brandon Austin. I play trombone.
My name's Travis Winters. I play trombone also.
Little pizzazz there.
My name's Zachary Conway. I'll play baritone.
My name's Alex Ficken and I play snare drum.
My name's Dylan Myers. I play bass drum.
My name is Kyle Wright and I play bass sax.
My name is Billy Schauber. I play alto, tenor, and bass sax.
Mary Moody, and I play saxophone.
My name is Samantha Saxophone.
Corey Collins, and I play trumpet.
Hey, I'm Holly Dunn, and I play the trumpet. I'm Audrey Watkins, and I play the trumpet.
I'm Alexa White, and I play the clarinet.
I'm Brittany Aegis, and I play the clarinet.
Thank you so much, folks. Thank you so much for coming in. You did a nice job, absolutely.
I think there's nothing to do with Script Ohio.
I think there was.
I think it should be a script Elgin.
Oh, yes.
Script Elgin, that's right. Now, Lance, this sounds like a great event. Music to your ears, car show. Tell us all about it.
It's like I said, it's a car show, and then we'll have the band will be performing throughout it, and I think the choir will be there. Some portion of the choir will be there, and just a way to raise some money for the boosters that help. And the boosters do a great deal of as far as taking care of us with getting music and equipment and such that we need. They're a great big help for us for that.
Now, where does the money exactly go? How does it benefit the kids?
Purchasing of music. Music is getting more and more expensive. I was looking back in the files of music that was bought eons ago, and it would be for like $10 for a piece of music, and now it's like, on average $50 to $60 for a piece of music. And so the boosters help us out with that. They help us out with like reeds and the basic valve oil. And if we go on a trip, they're great about helping the kids. If we're struggling with getting enough money there, they kind of help take care of getting us to go on those trips and such.
Perfect. Now, this event coming up on the 23rd is a car show. Now, do you know what kind of cars will be there, or?
All kinds. Well, to me, they'll have, it's a lot of old 50s style.
Vintage.
Vintage, yeah.
Yeah, vintage.
But they'll have more than just that. A lot of different cars will be there.
Now, this will be at Elgin High School.
Yes.
And where is that located for people who don't know?
It's on 1239 Keener Road South.
May I say something here?
Go ahead.
The best way to get there is to go out Bell Fountain Avenue. If you're on any side of town, you go up Bell Fountain Avenue to Campbell Road. Turn right on Campbell Road, go down to the second road, turn left on Keener, and you can't miss it. You'll run right into Elgin High School. I know I was there last weekend for Tansy Addison's Into the Woods.
Awesome?
Awesome show, Into the Woods. And also, these guys are good too, so please go and see that. It's the talent at Elgin is unbelievable.
Anytime you get a chance to possibly win up to $10,000,
oh,
I'll be there.
I'll be there
you
too.
know, and then I won't be here next week. You won't catch me. Lance, how did you come to Elgin?
There was an advertisement on the internet.
Well, that's how we all find jobs.
Well, it was an email I got. I graduated from Big Walnut High School in Sunbury, and I went to college at Eastern Kentucky University. And then a friend of mine that was teaching at Big Walnut sent me a little email thing that he had gotten. He said, "Hey, you got to check out Elgin. It's a great school." And so I did. And it has been a great school. It's been a great place to work.
I know our very own Fritz the Night Owl was in band.
Well, I was in band in high school, Columbus North, 1951, 51 and 52. Played tuba, and a lot of fun. The thing I can tell you though is we marched in the Christmas parade from Lazarus downtown, down High Street, to around Nationwide Boulevard. And that was major league cold. That cold wind is coming up off the river there. And of course, if you play the tuba, everybody wants to throw snowballs at the bell of the tuba. And your lips are freezing and you're blowing into that big mouthpiece, and all of a sudden, kablang, an ice ball hits the thing and that mouthpiece goes ripping across your teeth.
What did you call it a while ago?
Sousaphone.
Sousaphone.
Sousaphone or tuba, yeah.
Tuba.
That's the same thing, a sousaphone and a tuba.
Not really. The tuba wraps around you. I think the sousaphone you sit and you, or no, which?
You're right.
The tuba you hold.
Yeah.
the tuba you hold, the sousaphone wraps around you. This is 39 pounds of stale plumbing, and it was all mine.
Can you still play?
In college.
Pardon?
I also marched sousaphone for a little bit in college.
Yeah. Where did you go to school?
Eastern Kentucky
Oh,
University.
right. And do you have to teach other classes at Elgin besides music?
Yeah, I cover both the elementary band classes for Elgin South and Elgin West, and then I also do some general music at the junior high along with the junior high band, and then music history and theory along with the high school band.
I think, being in the band helps the students broaden their musical horizons so much because the music that you hear on the radio and in the mass media today is so limited, and yet you're in the band and you've got to, as I say, name a trumpet player that's got a top 40 record today. Forget it, And so it's good that they know trumpet and baritone sax and tuba and sousaphone and all those other things.
Can you still play, Fritz? If we gave you a sousaphone today, could you belt one out?
I could do. When I played, it was mostly an oompa. So if you knew two notes and you knew the key they were in, you could pretty much fake it. But it's just a thing that the band was an important part of our growing up, and I'm just delighted to see that the schools can still afford, even though it is so much more expensive. I think it's not the kind of thing that they talk about dropping the arts. Huge mistake.
Gigantic mistake. Do you want to mention it again? The Elgin Music Boosters will present Music to Your Ears, April the 23rd. Charlie, were you ever in the band?
No, I would have liked to, but no.
Do you play any instruments?
No.
George?
Drums.
You play drums. Now, was that a high school pickup? There you go. Now, George, did you pick that up? We're gonna need somebody to give Charlie a wake-up call in a second. Did you play that in high school? Did you start in high school?
Yes.
And can you still play? Do you have a drum set at home? Is what I mean.
And then when I went in the Army, I don't know why, but they gave me a drum at basic training, and I went, your left, your left, your left, right, left. Your mama was there when you left, you're right. Your papa was there when you left, you're right. That's what they did. That's what I did. That left.
Lance, do you want George in the band? We might be able to wrangle him up for you. Get him a set of drums. We're going to go into the mailbag this week as we move along. Topic this week in the mailbag. My wife is prickly and angry most of the time. She takes her anger out on our 7-year-old daughter and me. We have not had a decent conversation in months. All the words between us are either running the household or words of disagreement. My wife is under a lot of stress at work, but I am so tired of her angry tirades, I just want to leave. That's Sean in Marion. George, marital discord there, apparently.
It sounds like it.
Yeah. Maybe that's how his house works. I don't know.
I don't know either.
What would you do? How do you tell the wife, not that this has ever happened with your wife, but would you tell the wife that, hey, you're a little stressed out, calm down, you're a little angry?
Well, like me, the older you get, you have to have a little bit of faith, So I just try to make things calm, relaxed, easygoing, and it happens.
Don't yell back.
No, I don't.
It's going to make it worse.
It is. It definitely is.
Now, Lance, are you married?
I am.
Okay, what would you do in this situation?
To get her
to calm down.
Just calm down.
Yeah,
It's hard to let it go. I mean,
simmer down now. I think what I usually
simmer down.
Yeah, simmer down.
You just say that to him. Charlie, you've had a couple wives.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think I'd take a job out of town.
Really?
Yes, indeed.
Now, have you ever had this problem?
Oh, off and on.
Often. What did you do? How did you handle it? Not how would you now?
I just let it roll on.
You just let it go
Yeah,
on?
I just got interested in other things, and that wasn't that important to me.
What was a typical argument?
Money.
Really?
Oh,
I think that's the number.
Hey, you were in radio, you know.
Exactly right. You certainly
Money.
aren't making the big bucks.
The no radio job,
That's it.
or
Go
no
out-
money job.
Was it go out and get a real job?
That's right, I had to do a couple of jobs at a time to make enough.
You worked in a cemetery, you told us the
Yes.
last, you shoveled dirt on people?
No, I didn't. I sold graves. I sold markers, and I comforted people. And
Oh,
it's a highly interesting type of work.
I bet it would. You know, it was mortician, we're getting off topic now, but mortician is one of those jobs I think you have to be born to do. I have no idea how you could do that, unless you were born. Fritz, the wife is a little wound up, stressed out maybe from work, taking it out on everybody. What do you do?
Well, in my particular case, both my wife and I worked, so we really didn't have that much time together. So that those situations, when they came up, it was just, lay back, count to 10, turn off your ears and just let it go and wear off. And it goes into something else. But in a way, not being together that much, not having that much contact, in a way, I think was one of the reasons why there were so few flare-ups, either by myself, and then there were like 5 kids. So there were just a lot of things to distract our attention from the fact that I was probably one of the laziest guys on the planet, and still am. But as I say, so normally we just let the fire would go out.
Right.
When you were in television, what kind of hours did you work, to give people some idea?
I worked roughly from about 8 in the evening till 9 in the evening till about maybe 3 or 4 in the morning, and so again, my wife worked during the day, so sometimes we'd only be together at like supper time, and she'd have her day to talk about, I'd have mine to talk about, and there was no time for. And then we have what are the kids doing? So there really wasn't much of a time to get on each other's nerves.
So the night owl is truly a night owl.
Oh yeah,
In real life.
For many years. I worked nights, and I liked that because I never had traffic problems going to and from work, and it was always quiet when I was at work. All of the power elite had gone home, and there was just a skeleton crew there, and you got the run of the joint for yourself. So I liked the night hours.
And if you have a question for the mailbag, feel free to join us on Facebook under the name The Exchange Marion, or email those questions to us at irmcommunication@gmail.com. Wanted to talk a little bit today about a program we did last week in the last few minutes. Fritz mentioned it. Les Brown and your Band of Renown.
Right.
I was at the Goodwill this past week and came across a record of Les Brown in the Band of Renown. I don't know when this record was made. Do you see it on here, Charlie?
It hadn't been in the 50s.
Columbia Records, what's Micro
Long
Groove?
play. Microgroove is long
Yeah,
play.
sure.
Long play. This has
That's
some.
33.
Yeah.
Has some.
They had 10-inch 33s and 12-inch 33s.
And this was the, 10-inch?
That's a 10-incher. And I think Doris Day was the band singer prior to 1948 or 49. That's when she made her movie debut, and but I think she was the big band singer for Les Brown in the 40s up until she started movies.
We have the Kay Kaiser Dance Parade on here. We have the Les Brown Dance Parade. We have the Dorseyland Dance Parade. We have the Tony Pastor Dance Parade. Frankie Yankovic, Claude Thornhill, Woody Herman, Benny Goodman. A lot of good stuff on here.
This size album was never as popular as the larger ones.
You play a lot of these?
Oh, yes, yes.
Your dance date with Les Brown. No picture of Les, though. What did Les look like?
Haven't got the vaguest.
Nobody's ever seen Les Brown? George, have you ever seen Les Brown?
I've seen
I've seen him, I don't remember.
What's he look like? Is he a
Wasn't too
good-looking
impressive,
guy?
was he?
No, that's why they cartooned him up here on the
Looks
album.
like that guy right there.
I don't know who this is. Maybe this is Doris Day that has, who knows. But
was-
an LP. If you've never seen an LP, there's an LP. Les Brown and his Band of Renown. Your dance date. What a great record. Bought this at the Goodwill for $2. Can probably sell it for a dime.
Less than that.
Less than that, Charlie. We're going to wrap it up this week. If you have a question or comment for the exchange, As I said, you can email us at irmcommunication@gmail.com. Give us a call, 740-387-4649. Don't forget the big event coming up at Elgin, Music to Your Ears, April 23rd. Thank you so much, Lance. Be back tomorrow.